Picture this. It's 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan. A group of lumberjacks are doing what they do best, carving a life out of the sprawling, dense wilderness. These were tough guys, used to the dangers of the woods, but nothing could have prepared them for what was coming. They cornered a strange beast in a hollow log, thinking it was just a big dog. A bit of cruel fun in the middle of nowhere. Their laughter echoed as they prodded and poked at its hiding spot. Then the laughter died. A scream ripped through the air, a sound that was horribly, unnervingly human. When the creature came out, it didn't just crawl, it rose and kept rising until it stood a terrifying 7 feet tall on 2 legs. It had the muscular body of a man, but the snarling head of a wolf, with eyes that glowed with an unnatural fire. This is the first recorded encounter with the legend that still haunts the Michigan woods, the Dogman. What if the old stories are true? What if, in the deepest, darkest parts of Michigan's forests, something is out there watching? The creature known as the Michigan Dogman is way more than just a campfire story. It's a piece of American folklore that just won't go away. Described time and again as a 2-legged canine with a man's body, a wolf's head, and a howl that sounds like a person screaming. For over a century, its story has been whispered from town to town, a creepy presence in the state's beautiful but intimidating wilderness. But this isn't just a monster hunt. It's a legend with surprisingly deep roots, a bizarrely specific pattern, and a history that's as strange as the creature itself. While that 1887 lumberjack story is the most famous starting point, some believe the idea of a 2-legged canine predator in Michigan is much, much older. Many try to connect the legend to the folklore of Native American tribes of the Great Lakes, like the Odawa. These tribes have ancient stories of shapeshifters and powerful animal spirits that roam the forests. There are some mentions online of a wolf-like spirit named Makwayo, but this specific name and its direct link to the Dogman legend aren't confirmed in mainstream Odawa traditions and appear to be speculative. What is true is that these tribal stories often served as warnings. They spoke of beings that could be guardians or terrifying omens, blurring the line between man and beast, spirit and flesh. As European settlers moved in, they brought their own superstitions of werewolves and creatures of the night. This created a potent mix of fear and fascination, suggesting that whatever the lumberjacks saw in 1887 wasn't new, but just the first time it had been seen through modern eyes. One of the weirdest parts of the Dogman legend is what people call the 10-year cycle. According to the folklore, which really took off in the 20th century, the creature doesn't just show up randomly. It's said to make its presence known in a 10-year pattern, with a spike in sightings in years ending with the number 7. Now, it's important to remember this cycle is a major part of the folklore, especially a song that made the legend famous, and not a historically documented pattern. But the stories that fit this timeline are chilling. The legend claims that in 1917, a sheriff found an abandoned wagon and its 4 horses dead in their tracks, their eyes wide with what was described as pure fright. The only clues were strange, wolf-like tracks in the dirt. It's a terrifying image, but this story comes from the lyrics of The Legend, a song written in 1987, and isn't backed up by historical records. 20 years later, in 1937, things supposedly got more direct. A man named Robert Fortney was allegedly attacked near Paris, Michigan, by what he first thought were 5 big dogs. He said his terror went to a whole new level when one of them suddenly stood up on 2 legs to face him. Just a year after that, in 1938, a man fishing on the Muskegon River claimed he was confronted by a large, aggressive dog. He fired his shotgun in the air to scare it off, but the creature didn't even flinch. It just stood up on its hind legs, stared at him with an unsettling intelligence, and then disappeared back into the woods. The folklore continues the pattern. In 1957, claw marks were reportedly found on a church door, so high up that a local paper supposedly said a dog would have to be 7'4" to make them. Like the 1917 story, however, there's no verifiable record of this event. It seems to be another piece of the legend. Then in 1967, a group of friends claimed they were woken by a scratching at their van window and saw the horrifying face of a grinning dogman looking in. Each decade, as the seventh year approached, the stories would start up again. It was as if something was waking up on a schedule. These stories build a pretty compelling, if not creepy, case for a century-long mystery. If you want to hear more tales from the dark corners of the world and help us investigate these enduring legends, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss what we uncover next. For almost 100 years, the Dogman was Michigan's local boogeyman, a tale you'd hear around a campfire. But in 1987, that all changed. A Traverse City radio DJ named Steve Cook decided to write a song for an April Fool's Day prank. He patched together local ghost stories and old lumberjack tales into a ballad he called The Legend. The song told the story of a bipedal canine that showed up every 10 years in the year ending in 7. Cook was expecting a few laughs. What he got was a firestorm. The station's phone lines blew up, but people weren't calling to say April Fools. They were calling to share their own encounters. Dozens, then hundreds of listeners called in with terrifyingly real-sounding stories of a creature that matched the song's description. Cook thought he was just making up a myth, but he accidentally tapped into something people already believed was lurking just beyond the tree line. The song became a massive regional hit. It wasn't a prank anymore, it was the monster's official anthem. The legend gave a name and a narrative to a fear that had been lingering in the woods for generations. It cemented the whole 10-year cycle idea in everyone's mind. As interest in the story he helped popularize continued to grow, Steve Cook even updated the song with new verses for 1997 and 2007. What started as a joke had become the most important chapter in the creature's history. Even after the legend went mainstream, the sightings didn't stop. If anything, the stories have only gotten wilder. The Manistee National Forest is still a major hotspot, a huge wilderness where people keep reporting chilling encounters. Stories pop up all the time about a hulking, upright canine figure darting across a remote road, its eyes glowing blue or amber in the headlights. One of the most persistent modern tales you'll find circulating online is about a security watchman at a factory who supposedly snapped a photo of the creature under a security light. As the story goes, he was so freaked out by what he saw that he refused to ever make the picture public, which only fuels more speculation about what it might show. Of course, this is a popular story, but it remains an unverified rumor. These modern accounts often share the same unnerving details. Witnesses describe a creature of incredible size and speed. One trucker in 2017 claimed a wolf head the size of his truck window peered down at him, its long clawed hands scratching at the door. These stories sound a lot like encounters with other cryptids, like Wisconsin's Beast of Bray Road, which makes you wonder if this is a wider phenomenon of wolf-like humanoids. While there's still no hard scientific proof, no body, no clear DNA, the sheer number of eyewitness accounts is hard to ignore. The stories keep pouring in from hunters, hikers, and regular people who saw something they just can't explain. So, after all this, what are we left with? What exactly is the Michigan Dogman? Is it some undiscovered species? A predator that's been hiding out in the deep woods all this time? A supernatural shapeshifter from old folklore, forever tied to the land? Or is it just a powerful legend, fueled by a perfect storm of old tales, a catchy song, and our own primal fear of the dark? From the terrified lumberjacks in 1887 to the people seeing it today, the descriptions are remarkably consistent. A 7-foot-tall, two-legged canine with the body of a man and a terrifying, human-like scream. The 10-year cycle, whether it's a bizarre coincidence or a supernatural schedule, adds a layer of chilling inevitability to it all. As the legend grows, one thing is for sure. Somewhere in the North Woods, something may be walking upright. And maybe the best advice is to be careful when you go out in the woods at night. So, is the Michigan Dogman real? That's for you to decide.